In the first 4 videos of this series, we identified 7 critical moves your business needs to make if you want to innovate your way out of a crisis. Your first move is to know your users and focus on their needs, as you create value by meeting the needs of others, not your own. Your second move is to adopt a system of natural selection, so winning ideas can emerge more naturally. Your third move is to coordinate action more effectively by getting the right people in place, which means focusing on their attitudes as well as their aptitudes. And these people need clear missions, so they can start moving in the right directions. Your fifth move is then to monitor the progress of those missions in real time, rather than micromanaging people or projects. Your sixth move is to create effective communication across the entire organization. This means insisting that people challenge any assumptions they think are holding the progress of any mission back. And that requires a common language, so people challenge assumptions rather than challenging each other. And the common language everyone in your organization already knows is maps. And the only real maps for business today are Wardley maps. Adopting this low-tech, open-source approach, you can quickly set clear missions, get people into the right roles, and enable them to decide what methods are appropriate to complete their missions. That's why using Wardley maps is move number 7. Now in this 5th and final video, we're going to look at the last 2 critical moves your business should make if you want to innovate your way out of a crisis. In order to be able to map your business landscape clearly, you're going to need to think small. In other words, you need to know the details. Modern businesses can be very complex, and they operate in dynamically changing markets. So knowing all the details is often beyond the capability of one person or even one function. But once you've made the 7 previous moves outlined in this series, you will have activated one of the greatest untapped resources any organization has: the wisdom of its crowds. Now, of course, not all crowds are wise, but by following 3 simple rules of thumb, you can turn your employees and the people in their networks into a wise crowd. The first rule of thumb is to make sure you're involving the right people. In other words, those with some knowledge of the situation. We already addressed how to do this with move number 3, making sure you have the right people on the right projects by thinking aptitude and attitude. The second rule of thumb is to focus people's attention on addressing the problem rather than try to influence each other in a political power game. We discussed this in move 7, using Wardley maps to provide your people with a common language so everyone can work together to challenge problems rather than each other. And finally, you need to make sure your people have some skin in the game. In other words, some intrinsic motivation for making good decisions. Again, we discussed this in move number 4. We're providing people with clear and actionable missions they can focus on, increases purpose, mastery, and autonomy. Now that you've got your maps, you can show them to other people, even those outside your organization with specialist knowledge, who can challenge your assumptions and point out what you're missing or have wrong. You are now scanning the horizon more widely, which will help you identify more opportunities earlier. And this is why tapping into the wisdom of crowds so you can scan the horizon better is move number 8 for innovating your way out of a crisis. Now, the thing about your business landscape is that it's not fixed. It's continually changing. Therefore, any tool you use to manage action in a dynamic environment also has to incorporate change. And Wardley Maps has that, with its economic rules of the game. These are 30 economic models that can be applied to your map to help you anticipate how things are going to change. Because, as Wardley tells us, the future may be uncertain, but it's not entirely unpredictable. To demonstrate this, let's take the map we did earlier for our retailer, who identified new customer needs. Now, the first economic rule of the game is that everything evolves through supply and demand competition. If there is demand for, let's say, people setting themselves up to work from home, then suppliers will emerge to meet this need. And as more suppliers provide these services, the more certainty other customers have about what this offering is and what it can do for them. This drives wider demand, which is excellent news for our retailer, as this means more potential profits for them. However, it isn't all good news, because everything is evolving in the same way, from left to right on the map. Even things they don't want to evolve, like, for example, their showrooms. Retailers spend lots of money on physical showrooms to display goods. Think of electronic equipment or heavy kitchen goods, for example. But the second economic rule of the game is that efficiency enables innovation, and online spaces are far cheaper to create and maintain. This means it will become cheaper to experiment with new ways of displaying goods, and that will be based on an online platform that's far more efficient to run than physical locations are today. If the provider of that platform is smart, they will open this up for others to display their designs on, which will accelerate the supply of design ideas on the market and help attract customers, thereby accelerating the demand for working from home setups, helping make this a more profitable niche. And as customers have other needs too, these could be met by expanding the platform to provide, for example, design ideas for furnishing rooms. Those customers are also looking for light tools to buy, so our retailer can start advertising those on their platform, as well as other DIY equipment customers are looking for. Now the platform is starting to get a critical mass of customers, it can reach out to manufacturers and invite them to start showing off their products directly on the platform. And the platform itself, because of all the data it is now accumulating about suppliers, is able to be the price guarantee customers seek. Now, economic rule of the game number 3 is that higher order systems, like our showroom, create new sources of value, which means customers won't care about anything else below the showroom, as all their needs are satisfied above the line. The platform is now in a position to start identifying new emerging needs, as it has access to so many customers and has had a head start in satisfying them quicker than rivals. The market has now changed, and our platform owner is in now position A to take advantage of what comes next. This is why anticipating how the industry is changing and getting ahead of it can be so valuable. But unfortunately, most players won't see this because they don't have maps. What they do have, though, is a lot of resistance to change, what we call inertia, and the more success they had in the past, the more inertia they will have. They will have multiple reasons for not doing something like this, and will spend endless hours in meetings debating it while someone else, unencumbered by inertia, will steal in and take the market. And that's why we have no choice about evolution. If we don't take the opportunities that change brings us, then someone else will. But we also have to be aware that as components evolve, their characteristics change, which is why we have to take care to put people in positions that suit their attitudes or how much uncertainty they are comfortable dealing with. And we then allow them to choose the methods they think are the most appropriate for meeting the missions that they have been set, because there is no one single method that fits all situations. And that's the benefit of using a Wardley map. It helps you see your landscape more clearly, understand how the landscape is changing, and helps you work better with others so you can discover innovative moves your business can make. When you add this to the power of the operating principles that are useful to every organization, such as the 7 listed here, you have a new management system for innovating your way out of a crisis. Therefore, applying the economic rules of the game to anticipate how your landscape is changing is the 9th and final move your business should be making now. And this is your map for how you can start making innovative moves today. The principles on the right are your foundation. They can be put into practice in a matter of weeks. So drop us an email to request your free workbooks for getting started with these. The components in the middle of the map are things you can reach out to the market to help you implement, and therefore may take a few months to put into practice, depending on how solid your foundations are. Then it's just a question of developing those high-value activities on the left-hand side of the map yourselves, so you can start differentiating yourself from your competition. This is how you can power up your business with Wardley Maps with the help of Power Maps. Contact us for your free consultation on how you can start innovating your way out of this crisis.